Welcome to another episode of RH Home Construction. We are doing the estimate here. I'm just going to show you some catastrophic issues going on with these floor joists and girders. I'm going to zoom in, I'm going to talk you through it, see what's going on. Alright guys, so we have here our first NIS, an inspection world that is considered a non-industry standard repair. Now this NIS that we see here, the contractor that was originally brought in to make these repairs, instead of using a pressure treated 4x4 or a pressure treated 6x6 to create a new post, they decided to use a non-pressure treated 2x4 nailed to another 2x4 to create their own 4x4 post. Although there are several issues with this post that can be identified, to me the most prevalent issue is the fact that the column/post itself was set too shallow. This means that the column was not set down to the footing below the slab. Therefore, the column itself will not have the correct load bearing capacity. In addition, the column was cut too short, meaning if when we look at the top of the girder actually is starting to separate and is deflecting. And this is causing catastrophic issues to the main floor of the house, as the floor joists and the flooring and the subflooring, you can see a giant dip in the flooring system. As well as when we look at the actual area where the column meets the girder, you will see that there was not a horizontal level cut on the makeshift post that the contractor installed. As we look at the top of the column/the post, you will notice that the column/post was not cut level, nor was the column or the post cut long enough when it was set in place. Therefore, you will notice that there is a gap in between the two girders where they meet, and the gap is slowly but surely spreading at the bottom because the post was not long enough, nor was the post set correctly. In addition, you will also notice that the girders are just set on top of the post, and there is no hardware nor any fasteners that will secure this connection. Now, if we look directly to the left of the makeshift column that was installed by the contractor, we will come across a metal column that is original to when the home was built. Now, if we look at the bearing plate on the metal column, you will notice that the contractor installed wooden shims in between the top of the bearing plate on the column and the girder. These wooden shims will compress over time, which means that the column itself will still not have the correct bearing capacity needed to support the flooring system above it. Although there are several remedies that can be used to rectify this situation, one simple remedy would be using metal shims. Since metal shims do not compress over time, I still would jack the house up, make sure the girder is level, then install the correct thickness of metal shims, securing those metal shims to the bearing plate of the column to the girder. A better option would be, again, jacking up the house, making sure that the girder is level so we can get the ideal height of the metal column that needs to be installed. Then install a metal column that reaches the actual footing below the slab to provide the ideal bearing capacity for the column. Directly to the right of the makeshift wooden column that was installed by the contractor, we come across another metal column that was original to the build of the house. And as you look at this metal column, you will see about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch gap between the bearing plate of the metal column and the girder itself. Now you will see that on this particular girder, you will see nails poking through the bottom of the bearing plate, which reaches the girder, but there's still a separation between the girder and the bearing plate, which means that there is not a correct load being transferred down to the footing from the girder to the actual column. The last thing I want to draw your attention to in this video is directly to the left of the electrical box. You will notice that the girder itself is no longer seated properly on the foundation wall. There is an extensive gap there, pretty much between 2 to 3 inches of a gap where it's no longer bearing a load on the exterior foundation wall, as well as the brick veneer on the inside of the foundation wall is starting to decay and break away. I wish I had got a little bit better footage and a couple more pictures a little closer to the actual affected area so I can go into greater detail for you. But I just wanted to point out a few of the things that I see during my daily inspections, as well as when I'm on site doing estimates for clients. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of RH Home Constructions. We're on site doing inspections today. Thanks again. Have a great rest of your day.